Greetings, friends. We welcome you to the Sacred Name Telecast, presented by the Assemblies of Yahweh of Bethel, Pennsylvania. I'm Elder Jacob O. Meyer, proclaiming the revealed personal name of our Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and the good news of the kingdom of the heavens. And we greet each one today very warmly, and we're glad that you joined us for the Sacred Name programs. I hope that every time the Sacred Name telecast or the Sacred Name radio broadcast can be heard in your area, that you'll join us and that you'll bring your textbook. That's the Bible. That's what we study on this program. And that's our only textbook, besides going back to the original languages as closely as we can return to them, to the Hebrew and the Greek and the Aramaic texts. And then also bring a pad of paper and a pencil or pen so that you'll be able to jot down the notes that of the comments that I make. And you can especially jot down the scriptures, because when you jot down the scriptures, you'll be able to recover a lot of what I say. Every time that you take time for spiritual enrichment, and you go back and review the things that have been said here on this program, you'll be able to remember. And that's important, that you don't forget what you learn. So today we greet each one very warmly and sincerely, and hope that you'll be with us every time the Sacred Name programs can be heard in your area. These programs were envisioned as and designed as Bible studies. They're not entertainment programs, because we believe that we have something that you need. Most worldly religion does not teach the truth of the Bible as it appears in the original texts, as closely as we can return to the original texts. So consequently, the Bible brings us a message of things that we must do in order to be saved. Where does that start anyway? Acts chapter 4 and verse 12 says, "And in none other is there salvation, for neither is there any other name under heaven." Now, the name is of extreme importance, and you must call upon a certain name. It just so happens that the Almighty Heavenly Father has himself chosen and revealed his name to us. He has chosen and revealed the name of his Son. The name of his Son, of course, contains his own name, a portion of it, and the service that the Son will be doing for mankind here on this earth, and that is salvation. So it says, neither is there any other name, no other name under heaven that is given among men in which we must be saved. Then we must begin studying. I wish I were speaking to thousands of sincere people today, people who would take our literature and go to a library. Perhaps you have a pretty good library even in your own home. Some individuals have 3 or 4 encyclopedias in their own home, besides dictionaries, Bible dictionaries. But you can usually go to a high school library or to a public library near you in your vicinity, and you can prove the things that I am telling you on the Sacred Name programs. And as a consequence, It seems that most people today want to have a ready-made religion, and they don't want to really put forth too much effort. I had to put forth a lot of effort because I wanted the answers to the questions. What happened to the power of the Apostolic Assembly anyway? Where did it go? The answer is that the Apostolic Assembly power did not vanish. It was withdrawn, and in the last days it's being poured out upon us again. And so we must follow what the scriptures tell us. Now, Acts 4:12 is very important. Isaiah chapter 42 and verse 8 is the passage that tells us that the Almighty has chosen a name for himself, and this is his name. Isaiah 42 verse 8. I am Yahweh, that is my name. And you can go to the Hebrew Bible and you can prove that this, what I'm reading is correct. It is not correct to use the word Jehovah, because Jehovah is a hybrid term and combines terms that do not belong together. It combines the tetragrammaton, the 4 letters of the Almighty's name, with the vowel sounds of Adonai. And Adonai is not really a name that is given to the Almighty anywhere in the Bible. Yes, it's used in the scriptures, but it's used in a common way. And so consequently, when the word Jehovah is used, there's no J sound to begin with in the Hebrew language. The Yod, the smallest letter in the Hebrew language, is pronounced like a Y. And therefore, we have studied and we have learned, and not only us, but Dr. William Foxwell Albright used the name Yahweh in his teachings in Johns Hopkins University. Most good Bible scholars use the name Yahweh. A few nights ago, I turned on television, and Dennis Miller from California was being interviewed by one of the program moderators of a telecast, and he naturally used the name Yahweh. But the moderator of the telecast never stopped and questioned, why are you using the name of the Almighty? Perhaps he didn't know the importance of it, that it just went over his head. But it says here, 42:8, I'm Yahweh, that is my name. Now when he tells us that this is his name, we better wake up and pay attention. And my glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to carved images. And so Almighty Yahweh has reserved all worship for himself. Now, what concerns me so much at the present time is the passage in Daniel chapter 12, verse 4. It's just one verse, but it brings to our attention a great message. It brings to our attention something that we need to think about. But you, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book. Now, it was Daniel's responsibility then to seal the Bible knowledge for a certain period of time. And we read about that in the book of Revelation. And he says here, seal the book even to the time of the end. And the word end in the Hebrew text is kates, and it means the absolute cutoff point where man's age is to be cut off. We're actually living on borrowed time at the present moment, because Almighty Yahweh has given 6,000 years to mankind to work out his own salvation. but mankind has adopted the policies and the practices of Satan the devil. Mankind has madly chased wealth, even though it might only be listed on a sheet of computer paper. Mankind wants that wealth. He wants to make money every day, rather than just leave everything in Yahweh's hands and do things as Yahweh commands us. So he says here, but you, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book. So when we find the book being unsealed in the New Testament, in Revelation, then we can say that Daniel's job was done properly, done correctly, and in the end of the age, the words of the Bible will be unsealed. Even to the time of the end, many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. I'm very concerned when I talk to various people, and I find that theological seminaries have greatly reduced their emphasis on the biblical languages. In order for you to really get every nuance of meaning out of the word of Yahweh, out of the Hebrew, the Greek, and the Aramaic texts, for example, you must go back to the original languages. And there, when you read, then you get a new inspiration and a new understanding of what the Almighty wishes us to understand and comprehend from His Word. So consequently here it tells us that many shall run to and fro. Well, I have quite a bit of mileage under my feet here. I've gone 25 times to Israel, and I've studied in Israel. I've studied in various other places. I've taken the message of truth to every continent, every inhabited continent of the world. And as a consequence then, I've done my share of running to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. I once had a talk with my grandfather, and I made like a newspaper reporter interview, and I recorded it, but seems like the recording got lost over the years. But I asked my grandfather, how are things different than they were when you were a young boy? Then he said, well, you look up in the sky and you see airplanes flying around. We didn't see any airplanes when I was a boy. And he said we would mow the grain with a cradle it off. That's before the reaper was put into widespread use, and then later on the binder. He said today we do it all in one operation. We mow the grain and we thresh it right on the field and separate the grain from the straw. The straw goes out the back of the combine. And things like that. He said, when I was a boy, we many times rode a horse to go somewhere and do some business. But he said, today, you get on the automobile. Think for a moment. Think for just a moment. Almost every field of endeavor has seen a lot of improvement in knowledge. Knowledge has been greatly increased in science, in medicine. Why, there are procedures used in medicine today that would not even have been imagined. In medicine, and great inventions like the airplane, like electricity, and the electric servants that we all have in our homes. Those were not in the homes of my grandparents and great-grandparents. History. We've seen a lot of expansion in historical knowledge, archaeology, and, for example, in medicine, antibiotics came into use in the Second World War, and they've now become a reality. But why has religion lagged behind? Especially, religion wants to maintain the status quo, it seems. So as a consequence, jot down the scriptures and that I use, and don't forget this lit offer. You can put it right on your pad of paper, the literature offer of the material that I'm going to be offering today. And here's our new calendar, and I'm going to offer a free copy of this new calendar to everyone who calls in from this telecast or radio broadcast. The literature offer is number 9101, and you'll receive this literature that I'll be describing later on. Remember that the easy way to order this literature is to go to the telephone and dial 1-800-523-3827. You can dial up 24 hours a day. The telephone is answered either by live voice during the daytime office hours, or else later on all around the clock by electronic answering systems. So consequently, we'll get the message. And the literature offer is number 9101. Or you can write to the sacred name Telecast, P.O. Box C, Bethel, Pennsylvania, zip code 19507. Or the sacred name radio broadcast, if you please. P.O. Box C is in Charles, Bethel, Bethel, Pennsylvania. But the easy way to order is to just go to the telephone, dial our toll-free number. We'll pay for the call and say, I heard Elder Jacob O. Meyer offer literature offer number 9101 on television. Give us your name and address very clearly so that we can get it properly. Some people put their telephone number on the message. That's good in some ways. In case we misunderstand something, we can call you back. But we'll get this literature in the mail just as soon as we possibly can. Now, if you're watching this telecast or hearing the message in foreign countries, then you must dial our regular office number here at the Assemblies of Yahweh International Headquarters. And that number is 717-933-4518. 717-933-4518. Now, you'll have to precede that 717 area code with some digits to get into the American telephone system. You can obtain those digits from your own local telephone operator if you're living in the Caribbean on an island there, or in Africa, or in Asia, or Europe. You'll be able to get through to us. And all you need is to just ask for the prefix numbers that you must dial to get into the American telephone system, and then dial our number 717-933-4518. Now, I'd like for us to, for a few moments, to remember the prophecy that Yahshua the Messiah made. It's called the Olivet Prophecy. And this prophecy tells us certain things are going to be happening before the Messiah's return. Matthew 24, verse 1. And Yahshua went out from the temple and was going on his way. He was going up the Mount of Olives. And his disciples came to him to show him the buildings of the temple. From the top of the Mount of Olives, you can look into the enclosure and you can say, oh, this is this building, that's that building, and this is what was happening. But he answered, it says, he answered and said to them, do you not see all these things? Truly I say to you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And you know that actually happened within 40 years of this time when he was describing what's going to happen. Sitting on the Mount of Olives, it happened when the Roman army attacked Jerusalem in 70 Common Era. And that's the time just before then that the Apostolic Assembly was told to flee. Voices appeared in the air, Josephus said, and the voices said, let us remove hence. And various phenomenal things happened around that time. But Jerusalem was burned, the temple area was burned, and the stones were pulled, stone from stone. The ashes were sifted to pick up all of the precious metals from the temple and from the buildings that had been affixed there, and the precious stones included. We are told then by historians that about 10 years later is when the great Colosseum in Rome was built. And some historians have suggested that the Colosseum used the precious metals to pay for the construction. The politicians used the precious metals from the temple and from Jerusalem to pay for the construction of the Colosseum. This is what may have even happened to the menorah that stood in the temple in Yahshua the Messiah's day. It might have been used for the construction of the Colosseum. So the disciples, as he was sitting on the Mount of Olives, disciples came to him saying, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of your coming and of the consummation of the age? Now this means the sign of your coming is a term that means that he will be there with the disciples, and the consummation means the final completion of all events related to the age of man. Yahshua answered, take heed that no man leads you astray, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah, and shall lead many astray. Well, now this has happened. People have been preaching the Messiah and preaching a false message attached to his name. But also there have been people who have said, I am the Messiah, personally. But no, that's not true. There's only one Messiah, and he sits at the right hand of Yahweh today, awaiting the commandment to return and establish Yahweh's kingdom on this earth. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. At this moment, as I'm making this telecast, the Middle Eastern tensions have escalated. Now rockets are flying out of southern Lebanon toward Israel. Hezbollah is attacking Israel from the north. The Israelis have been fighting a war down in Gaza, trying to get rid of Hamas, because Hamas is firing as many as 30 to even 100 rockets and mortars into Israel daily. And some of those are injuring and killing Israelis. And so Israel wants satisfaction and a seizure of hostilities with that Hamas will stop and will no longer attack. Wars and rumors of wars. The United States is involved in the Iraq War. We're involved in Afghanistan. We're involved. We have a declared war on terror all over the world. And so there are wars and rumors of wars, even rumors of World War III Some have said that this terror war is World War III, and World War IV will soon occur. And you see that you're not troubled, for these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines. Are there famines at the present time? Yes, there are famines in Sudan, in Somalia, and various other places. And earthquakes. We live in a rather quiet earthquake zone here in Berks County, Pennsylvania. And yet, in the past 20 years, there have been 14 earthquakes right here. And the first time we engaged radio station WMLK, there was an earthquake here. And so all of these things are coming to pass, but most people don't pay attention to it. Well, I wish I had a lot more time to speak on this subject, but if you're a person of goodwill, you're invited to attend our worship services on Sabbath at 10 a.m. here at Bethel, and then you can hear more of it. Literature Offer 9101, and this beautiful calendar will come out to you. It's for the most part it has pictures of Israel, and very beautiful calendar. I know that you'd appreciate it. We superimposed the biblical calendar on the secular calendar. Here are 3 articles on the sacred name. What is the name of the Heavenly Father? What is the Messiah's name? And the 7 ancient witnesses and the 7,000 witnesses. And yesterday, someone asked Mrs. Meyer about if she had a nice Christmas. She said, we don't keep Christmas. And the reasons are put in this publication, The Case Against Christmas. And then you can order your free 1-year subscription to the Sacred Name Broadcaster magazine, Global Crisis Deepens. Here we have a paperback book on the tabernacle. I'd like to send that one to you. Literature Offer number 9101. Telephone 1-800-523-3827 and order this Literature Offer number 9101. Or you can write to the Sacred Name Broadcast, P.O. Box C, Bethel, Pennsylvania, zip code 19507. Friends, it's been wonderful having you with us. Join us again next week at the same time on the same station. And until then, this has been Elder Jacob O. Meyer saying, may Yahweh bless you abundantly.